Sup, bros? Welcome to a kitchen. This time we actually got Coconut in here. She's gonna be hanging out. She learned a little bit from last time. She knows it's gonna have something really tasty for her. So for this show, we're gonna be taking ordinary food that you may eat every day and make it in 3 levels of fun. Level 1, level 2, and level 3 respectively. Hopefully, one of these will make it good enough that Coconut might even wanna take a bite. Today's food is mac and cheese. Good old stuff from the box. It's gonna be fun.
Level 1 is a mac and cheese that is particularly dear to my heart. This one is one that my mom used to make for me and that I grew up big and strong on. Once you hear how catchy the name is, you'll know how the recipe has stuck with me all this time. We call it mac and cheese, tuna and peas.
Mac and cheese and tuna and peas.
It is really quite that simple. Swim those noodles, melt your butter, and heat the milk over the stove and pour in that cheesy. Simply finish your mac with a can of your favorite tuna. In this case, I picked my wallet's favorite tuna, and some frozen peas at the end. Stir it in and the peas simply defrost in the heat of the cheese sauce and bring it down to a bearable temperature for immediate serving. Patience? Never heard of it.
Mac and cheese, tuna and peas. Who wants some?
Me?
Girls?
I want some.
Tastes like macaroni and cheese and tuna and peas.
I say yes, please. Good saltiness with the tuna, and then the peas add sweetness.
And it's just mac and cheese.
That's good.
Some for you. The pepper makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Are you gonna give some to Coco?
No, she deserves better than that. They're downstairs. Let's go. Come on, guys. Let's go.
Come on, get some more tea.
They just barely made ramen.
Come on, let's go. Go.
Yeah.
Is it the best macaroni you've ever had in your life?
It's probably solid mac and
Would you eat
cheese.
that for dinner any day?
Probably not.
Nice.
I have to admit that my taste testers are probably just as biased as I am.
It's so good, Ty.
They also grew up tall, strong, and handsome on it. But if you're looking for something with a little more oomph, this next one might be for you.
Level 2 macaroni. It's almost like it's one level higher than level 1 macaroni.
Level 2 macaroni is what I'm going to call carbonara mac and cheese, and what the Italians are going to call abominio, which translates to abomination, because we are breaking pretty much all the carbonara rules. Yeah, apparently there are pretty strict rules when it comes to traditional Italian recipes. Fortunately for us, I don't know the rules, so we're allowed to make as delicious of a carbonara mac and cheese as we want. We'll start by slicing up some bacon into manageable chunks and sautéing until they grab some color and have rendered out enough fat to fry our onions. I used a shallot, but honestly, that's just because I forgot to buy an onion. You can use half an onion. Nobody will ever know. We're going to let them get heated at the party, and once the onions are looking translucent and hopefully grabbed a little color, our freshly minced garlic is going to join in on the festivities. We're going to let the garlic toast up just a bit with the rest and remove from heat. To make the cheese sauce, I will be putting 3 egg yolks in a bowl and shredding in some pecorino. You could use Parmesan if that's what you got. The Italian food police aren't here. I'll be seasoning with freshly cracked black pepper before adding the cheese packet and milk. We don't need the butter since we're replacing the fatty richness with egg yolk and bacon grease. Speaking of bacon grease, I'm going to pour our cheesy into the bacon, onion, and garlic skillet. Our cooked noodles go right inside, and with a little stir, they are plated and garnished with some parsley flakes. It's okay, the Italian food police aren't here. And the parsley looks kind of nice, doesn't it? But how does it taste?
I gotta go.
Let us in!
You know some macaroni? Just trying to get in
move
the
that.
show.
Move
Problem with
that.
that, Ty?
Okay.
Ready,
All right.
set, go!
That's level 2 for sure. Like the flavors of all of it's way better.
I would much rather have this over level 1 macaroni.
Would you make this for a smoking hot babe?
Well,
This one's creamier.
So
more
creamy.
savory.
So clean.
Got some bacon chunks in there that go nicely with it.
Tastes delicious.
Okay, Ryan, would you make this for a meal if it would?
Yeah, pretty good. It also has like a very mild, like smoky aftertaste from the bacon.
Now there's a meal nobody will be disappointed with. Nobody would have any idea that you poured this stuff straight out of the box. It would take someone with a very distinguished sense of smell and taste to appreciate something a little better. And that's where coconut comes in. We're going to need to step up our game if we're going to appease this proper pup. Level 3 is a bit of an all-day affair, but it's worth every minute if it means we can make Coconut's food just a little better. I had to track down a live lobster, which in the current quarantine situation was harder than I had imagined. The usual lobster connection was out, so I had to call all over the state and eventually found one 45 minutes away. I asked them to hold one for me and went in early the next morning before store opening to secure the little critter. And let me tell you, he was not cheap. They must have known that they were the only ones in town with any of these still crawling crustaceans.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy needs to be butchered in the most humane way I know how. In and down.
Did you see that lobster die, Coco? I did. It was kind of scary.
We're going to blanch this guy for 3 minutes to allow the meat to release from the shell, but leaving it slightly undercooked. I'll be getting the meat out of the tail, claw, and legs. I totally forgot to get the meat out of the digits above the claws, but my little brother ended up realizing that and had himself a little lobster snack while I wasn't looking. Anyway, I'm setting aside the lobster meat that I did harvest. I'm boiling the lobster body with some carrots for a few hours to start making a lobster stock that we'll be adding to our cheese sauce. For the cheese sauce, I wanted to start with a roux. I'll be melting way too much butter and adding way too much flour. Once the mixture started to deepen in color and giving off that toasted flour smell, I'm going to add in way too much minced garlic. We'll be adding cream and milk, making more of a really thick bechamel. At this point, you can probably guess the quantity. It was way too much. I only ended up using like 1/6 of what I made here, so you can be more judicious with your bechamel quantity. Once the lobster body has a chance to release its beautiful flavors into the water, I'm straining it into the overly thick bechamel. I left it really thick like this since the lobster broth will loosen it up considerably. A little bit of black pepper, nutmeg, thyme, and cayenne really round out our bechamel. At this point, we will have a kind of lobster bisque, but it's a bit thin for cheese sauce right now. So we're going to let it simmer down while I grate equal parts of fontina and aged gruyere cheese. These will go straight into the bisque, creating a very blonde cheese sauce. A bit too blonde. Only one way to fix this. Dun dun, cheese pouch! I'm making 2 boxes of macaroni for this recipe, but I only used 1 cheese pouch. I didn't want to kill the more delicate flavors of the fontina and gruyere. Now, if you're feeling too fancy for cheese pouch, you could add more gruyere and just get the orange effect by adding a bit of annatto, or just leave it blonde. It's really your call at this point. Regardless of the color of your cheese sauce, it's not done yet. I'm taking some pancetta, which is sometimes known as Italian bacon.
That's interesting. It feels a little more acidic than regular bacon. It's a little more metallic, is what I would say.
And preparing it in much the same way as our bacon from earlier. I'll be dicing up some shallots and realizing that it might have been easier to toast the garlic at this stage rather than with the roux. But you live and you learn, huh? Now to put the mac in our mac and cheese. Of course, we're using the boxed macaroni product, but to make it fancy, we're using the spirals. Aren't these just the fanciest little noodles you've ever seen? I'm only cooking them for 3 minutes instead of the prescribed 7 since they're getting mixed in our hot cheese sauce, pancetta, and lobster meat. Lobster meat. Lobster meat. Hot cheese sauce, pancetta, and lobster meat. Lobster meat.
Oh yeah.
Topped with panko breadcrumbs and blazed at 420 for 6.9 minutes.
Needs a little bit more color. We're just getting really close.
Okay, maybe more like 7 minutes. After letting it cool, and believe me, waiting was harder than I'd like to admit, it was time to dish up for our little coconut. I selected a piece that I prepared without shallots, since those are a doggy no-no, and plated it with the rest of the lobster body. I staged it with a few random flowers from the window ledge for that Instagrammability.
Whoa.
It's good. It's really good. I like it a lot.
Exquisite.
Exquisite.
French.
It's like crunchy. There's lobster. It's better than level 2. I can tell you that.
I like the crisp on top that gives different textures. The lobster has really good flavor instead of the tuna.
There's like a.
What do you think of the pancetta versus the bacon? Did you get a chunk yet?
I think that's it right there. No, bacon has like a smoky, but this is like a, I don't know, kind of like that salami-esque, the premium style.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
There's like a lot of different textures, but it's like nice together. You have like crunchiness, creaminess.
Creamy.
I mean, ooh, this so creamy. I'm talking about it's creamy. For real. Like this video and follow me if you eat macaroni and cheese.
That's like I don't even know what this is anymore.
Can you still believe that's mac and cheese?
That's really good.
Yeah, I like that.
Holy cow.
It's a lot more chewy. I can't even compare it.
Yeah.
It's a whole different thing.
It's on a whole different level. Level 3. Raw lobster is delicious.
Yeah, if you fed this to someone, I don't think they would call this mac and cheese.
Would you believe that I used the cheese sauce packet in there?
Uh-oh.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh my
Dang.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's delicious. Holy cow.
Cool.
Now there's a dish you won't be ashamed to feed to your dog.
Dad has a scary broom.
Come on, Coco.
Can't challenge my string.
All done.
Yummy. It tastes good actually. Tastes like my mouth. Yeah. That yum yum. Should we move the lobster out of the
She'll move it if she wants it.
This is gonna join the clean plate club. All done, Coco.
That's yummy. Good girl.
Clean floor club.
Want some help? Are you worried about these? Move that out of the way for you. Just put it to the side.
She really wants to get to the monster. That's a compromise. Then you don't have to do it.
It's kind of weird to think that Coconut has eaten this lobster before a lot of other people have. A lot of, like this mac and cheese, you know? Yeah, is that yummy?
This could be in a restaurant. Good ideas.
You gonna eat up the carrot? What? She ate the carrot.
There shouldn't have been any carrot in there. Did I miss a carrot when I was straining?
Totally.
My gosh, she cleaned that.
Yeah, she'll get it clean. You won't even have to wash this thing afterwards.
Well done? Good girl, Coco. That is awesome. Like, I want more of this. Oh, give me more of this. Hi, Mimi. Yeah. Those are my shoes, Mimi.
That is so nice of you.
Thank you. Coconut POVs.
Bring him Lucas on their shoe.
What are you doing wearing only one shoe there, Luke?
Thank you, Mimi. Done.
Good job. Are you done with that now? Yep, there's your doggy.
All done, Coco? Oh, she's taking the head.
Okay, follow. You want to follow that?
There you go.
I work at a restaurant.
Whoa, this is not a big one.
Whoa.
Please back off. No means no.
You didn't say no, she just said I'm not comfortable with this. Yeah.
Why would you do that? Hey, Ty,
Yeah?
are we stopping at my parents' house at all?
Eat some of it. Eat some of it.
That was something that you said.
I said you gotta return the tripod. I don't have it. Okay, we don't have any further lights.
What is this stuff?
Good idea, please.
Yeah, definitely something very fatty.
Yeah, don't say in.
By the way, what's like?
She sounded like that.
You all done, Coco?
Oh, I guess you can teach me how to prepare it when I watch your video. I was saying I could have stayed to see I prepare the lobster, and I was like, well, you can just teach me when you watch the video.
Yeah.
You all done, good girl?
I'm hoping for, I want the videos to be more inspirational than inspirational.
Yeah. We're totally free right now, but we will figure out like the flow. Like all of us like being interviewed and stuff, and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm cutting it down. Of all the energy you guys had, I'm totally use it.
He's just taking it back over.
So, yeah.
And I won't be offended if you don't include special needs. If it doesn't should be there.
Yeah. In spite of the liquor fiasco,
Oh, that's what it's missing. The lemon. That's why it tasted a little bit funny. It was 8 cooks. I like 7.
There's better roll.
Congratulations, Alex. Enjoy your dough.
Thanks a lot, man.
That's it, too.
Oh, I'm turning off my mic.
Kenzie, do you think we have enough watching Coco eat a lobster?
Yeah. Ryan, what's that from? Bro. It's on YouTube. How do I not know it? I don't have my phone on me, so I can't pull it up. I have my phone on me.
I hereby submit a toast to Alexander.
For
Oh, this
pirating,
is getting all on the carpet.
for pirating Warcraft 3. For successfully pirating Warcraft 3, so we can play Defense of the Ancients. Congratulations, Alex. Enjoy your Dota.
Ryan, DNA made a new video. A new one?
Yeah, today.
Oh.
Coconut's kitchen.
Yeah, so you could probably just get like a bunch of crawdads.
Yeah, no, Grandpa and I, and Luke and I. Remember that, Luke? We caught like a billion crawdads.
Yeah,
Get on your chair.
we kept like 2 of them.
Yup. And Morgan was scared of them.
Oh,
Coco, how's it going?
Even the massive effing ones we found didn't even hurt at all.
Oh. Get better freaking Mother Nature.
She just crunched its skull.
Kenzie, is this enough watching Coco eat a
totally
lobster
good.
head? Okay.
Like Ryan took the meat out of the knuckle.
Not the
I may be careful.